Now, to talk more about this story, we're joined by David Eisenberg, a senior analyst at the British American Security Information Council. Mr. Eisenberg, looking at this letter, is it an indication among the military top brass, albeit this is from men who have retired, that the Bush administration is seriously considering a military strike against Iran?
Well, I think there are military officers serving today who have been charged with the planning of such a strike. The United States military does such contingency planning continuously. That in itself is not exceptional. But I think there have been clearly quite, more than a few signs in the past year that there are people within the active military who have been worried about what they might be asked to do with respect to Iran upon possible orders from the Bush administration. We can recall last fall there was very well-covered article in the New Yorker magazine by Seymour Hersh who talked about opposition by members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest-ranking officials in each of the services, to being asked to investigate the possible employment of nuclear weapons with respect to Iran, and their message basically was dropped dead. There's no way we're going to do this, and the Bush administration backed off. But there are, I think, quite a number of officials who are just still concerned that the Bush administration is thinking about doing this. And they can't say anything publicly because, one, it goes against their oath, and two, they'd like to keep their jobs. But they can talk to people on the outside, and I think you should look at that at this letter as speaking for at least some people in the military, which I think is what its significance is really all about.
So in this respect, is the letter going to have any impact on the Bush administration?
I think unfortunately not, because I think the Bush administration is not particularly does not have a record of taking advice that it doesn't like. You can see that quite clearly with the recent release of the Iraq Study Group report. They said basically you should be talking with Iran and Syria, and the Bush administration said thank you very much and goodbye, we're not going to do that.
Well, they're warned in their letter of serious consequences. What would those consequences be?
If the United States were to carry out an attack against Iran, the consequences that I think the whole world has to be concerned about is the impact globally on their economies by dint of a reduction in oil supplies. Whether Iran is able to successfully disrupt tanker traffic in the Gulf or damage or destroy petroleum facilities in adjoining countries, whether through their own actions or through the actions of people who are sympathetic to that, Shiite populations in the oil region of Saudi Arabia, for example, or in the other Gulf states, could produce a reduction in oil supply, and that could be catastrophic for the world.
David Eisenberg, thanks for joining us. Thank you.
My pleasure.